is May 3rd, 2023. Oh my God. Last night, I had uploaded those videos about Judge Pete being, retired Judge Pete being a serial rapist. Because do you realize with Dave's confession to our son Danny on uh, April 15th or 16th or 23, his phone is tapped from the case. And everybody's been talking about it from Massillon to North Canton. About what Dave said to Danny, where I was trying to slowly let my kids know what happened to me. That trying to say about that weird Eric stalking me, confessing in Walmart, having the bruises, throwing up, sick, almost passing out, that somebody was really playing with me, and then that man standing in the woods. And, my grandson gave his girlfriend Shay, she's like, Karen, this is really creepy. And I said, actually got high and came in and confessed. I hope they find him. Then I'm trying to let them know, well, if they have a shower scene in the other room, they have porn of them and then of Dave and everybody else. Okay. And so the next day, April 15th, we're sitting around talking. Well, the 16th is her mother had passed away last month, so they had a memorial service. We go in and after the service, I go out to my car. My car's bugged. FBI informant. It'll pick up 3 parking lots away. It has that good a mix on it. And my phone's tapped. It records if I'm on it or not. So, I go to get my car, and Gabe and Shay walk up to Danny and Jen and her brother. I heard what she said to Shay. None of this is funny. He said, I know I called my dad. He said he didn't know why that one guy confessed. Where November 18, 22, Walmart 62, 2 to 6 p.m. I'm in the hair salon. Eric comes in where they have been leaving his name on this, that it was Eric and Steve stalking me. Okay? And he comes in high as a kite. All the tapes before were me and not her. Was my idea to come up with it? My idea to say it. My idea to do it. For all these people to turn on her. Ha, 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 ha. Well, if it was only you, I could take care of it. And he said, it's that bad. They still fell for it. And then I did November 24th at Mercy Medical. We all heard that Eric make fun of us for falling for this. No one will say a word to her again. Well, and then the Lady Canton officer, the agent that bullied her into saying she was lying when she wasn't. I found out no one's ever said anything really bad about her before. It's that bad, nobody should say a word to her, okay? They know about Will bullying me. They know a lot about Will. Okay? Well, Danny replied to Gabe, I called my dad. He said he didn't know why that guy confessed. You know why he confessed? They framed him. They left his name all over it, got him high, and told him go in and confess. They gave him amnesia drugs. You're sleepwalking for 4 to 6 hours under someone's control. They're date rape drugs. That's how they get you out of the bar. If you watch like Law and Order Special Victims Group, half their things are women being taken from bars and other restaurants. And they have to backtrack all the street cams and outside cameras of businesses to find out where they took them and everything else. Because they walked with them willingly. They willingly had sex with them. And they don't remember. Because they call them amnesia drugs. They're date rape drugs. There's 300 of them that they can mix, like Xanax with something else, And then it'll shut down your memory. You'll be wide awake, a human zombie. I talked to a sheriff about those drugs. He said they're so bad. They could have drugged up the people that took down the towers, told them to go in, take captive of that plane and run them in the towers. And they don't know they killed themselves and everybody else. He said they're that bad. They control people under those drugs. And you're under somebody else's control. Whatever they gave me, they had used the same thing on my coworker Dar, and she was taken from a bar and raped and left in a puddle of pee and didn't know she'd been raped. She didn't even know how she got out of the bar. That is a sad story. She had a set of twins. One died. She was grieving over it. Friends had her get a babysitter for the other one, took her out. She went to take a drink at a bar, said she started acting happy. Group of people walked in and said, let's go. She don't remember leaving them. She don't remember anything but the bar. She found herself in a puddle of pee, throwing up, dizzy, messed up for about a day afterwards. And 2 months later, they told her she was pregnant again. She said, how can I be pregnant? I've not had sex. She's raising somebody else's kid. She said, it's not that I don't love my son, but I don't know what happened to me. See, that's where Eric didn't know he confessed. They got him high and told him to come in and do it. You're under somebody's control. And Dave has told Danny, I don't know why that guy confessed. He said, I hired a guy named Pete to do it on his own. It was him up there alone doing all that to her. Taping her and watching her and doing all those things. He's not my pimp. He said that Pete has it set up she could never get money on this. He doesn't have anything admissible. He said some agent showed up at that church, was asking threats on her life, and he was talking to everyone. He said he even talked to him. And he said he was the only agent looking in it on his own. Where I said, my God, I had an FBI agent my office, he's right there, and I walk off with Pamela screaming at Dave. Dave said he talked to him. Okay? And I'm like, oh my God. My God. It was Dave hiring a stalker. You cannot hire a hitman or a stalker to stalk your wife. He confessed April 15th or 16th to Danny on the phone, and his phone is tapped. People have been talking about it since North Canton to Massillon. Dave ratted out well, and Dave hired some guy named Pete on his own, and he was the one having him do it all to her. Nobody say a word. Where they thought the churches hired stalkers, and they were looking for a Steve and Eric and were framing them. Was my ex-husband hire a stalker on its own, where he had the 4 attempts on my life, and I'm not dead. So on the 6th day up there, they kick in the door. Then by the next week, I'm almost passing out in front of the neighbor, and when I try to mow the lawn, I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I have marks on me I can't explain. Hand marks, bruises everywhere. They were beating me under drugs. They told people to cover up their date rape drugs. They had sodium pentothal reports, and it was date rape drugs. We have truth serum. We're beating the truth out of her. They had a human slave for 4 to 6 hours, and it was retired Judge Pete on his own coming up, drugging me up. They had to be lacing my 2-liter Diet Coke or my coffee creamer. It's that bad. I wake up with injection marks too. It's called needling somebody. They do it in nightclubs. It takes 45 seconds and you're under somebody else's control. It's not funny to do that to a human being. He confessed to Danny he hired a stalker, a hitman. Fourth Amendment, you have a right to be safe and secure in your own home. Your spouse, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend cannot, where you live with them, cannot hire a stalker to kick in your door and into the wall of all things. And set up button cameras while you're out stalking me. Or you. It's hiring a stalker. Is a stalker's tape admissible? No. Do they go to jail for hiring a stalker? Yes. Are they allowed to watch you in your bedroom, bathroom nudes? Tape it and dispense it. That's sex trafficking videos. It's a federal crime. They admitted to taping me in the shower in the bathroom, then they were letting it run. They obtained and dispensed kitty porn of my grandkids using the bathroom. They admitted to drugging me, beating drugs out of me. I had a personal infection, and I was treated by the doctor. I could hardly even go to the bathroom. I had a yeast infection so bad it wouldn't go away, and they admitted they were raping me. How would you like to wake up sick, migraine headache, throwing up, dizzy, almost passing out, have bruises all over you, and infected, and not know why you're so sick, and you don't leave the house except for to go to the store, or go see your grandkids, or go out with your husband, and nobody knows what's wrong with you? How sick is this? And then when you put the date rape, drug confessions, beating, and somebody's molesting me and raping me, it makes it all pull together. And you think about some poor thing being throwing up, dizzy, can't keep anything down, marks all over. She has been beat, raped, and Dave kept touching me. That's where all this is sick. The sick SOB kept touching me after that man had raped me. He human trafficked me to that man. My one friend that worked at the prosecutor's office, he wants to know why he's not in jail. He confessed. After 4 years, it was him. So where people run around tape before, there cannot ever be a tape inside your house, outside a protected life case with statements. There's nothing else. You have a right to be safe and secure in your own home. Fourth Amendment. They can't even do a search warrant without a probable cause warranted with an oath or affirmation. They have to have a court order. And it has to be justified for a judge to sign it for your right to privacy to be violated. They have to give you your Miranda rights so you can, because of the Fifth Amendment, the right not to incriminate yourself, so you can shut up, and you have a right to a lawyer, and so you can lawyer up. So you can have a fair court trial bail bond, but to actually watch you, police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements. See, this is where this don't make sense. And when things don't make sense, it's Dave. This is where when things don't make sense, it's Dave. See, where that guy went, he admitted to Danny. He talked to that agent personally. Well, I told you we went out in the truck. Dave threatened my life, was trying to hit me in the car, and that he was going to kill me himself. And I almost jumped out on the highway. When we got home, I ran from him. And the next morning, I had to call that agent back. I told him there was some guy. If you actually listen, some guy walked by my apartment and said, I listened to the recording of her talking to that agent. She tried to tell him what was going on, and he wouldn't listen to her. I told him there was an agent at that church. He called me a liar. Why would he call me a liar? See, there's badgering laws, Department of Justice 1729. You have to take a victim or a witness or informant statement if you believe them or not. So why would he call me a liar instead of, my God, how'd they find out? I want the number of that church. I'm going to talk to that minister and find out who he talked to. See what I mean? Why would you just call me a liar? And then I tried to tell him about the guy that threatened to knife me at Huntington Bank. I got away from the Pizza Hut lady getting paid to watch me, and the mail banker yelling at her. And they both walked off together. He called me a liar. I tried to tell him he tried to kidnap me before. He wouldn't listen to me. He's like, was there a camera above the bench where you're sitting when he came up? I don't know. If you don't know there's a camera, you better say you're lying. I'll put you in jail. He threatened to arrest me. That was the Detroit Boys' kidnapper. Had killed my one co-worker's family member and had people show up and laugh in her face. They tied her up and cut her in pieces. They went on to take my house manager's niece. They took the girl at the ATM in Canton. They took a 15-year-old kid and more people. They're putting ties on people's cars in Belden and on the Strip. And if you go to try to take it off, they try to grab anyone. The one guy I was talking to, they had 35 people tied up and gagged in a railroad car. It's a big human trafficking scam. He had the biggest case in the world on his desk. A man using a retired judge wrapped up in a drug and human trafficking cartel. See, that retired judge knew nothing but protected life cases with statements you could never look at it. All the police will tell you that because of the Fourth Amendment over the house. It's over your house and your inner offices. If the FBI could be in anybody's home, they'd be in the mafia's home, drug lord's homes. They can't. Getting an idea? They can't. They can't do this to you. What would you like to do if you come home and somebody walks up to you? We got in your house and we set up on camera stalking you. You did what? We photoshopped a shower scene in the other room. You did what? You were watching me in the shower? You know where you had that bruise on you? Yeah? You were throwing up and sick? We drugged you and told you to say this. You did what? You were in my house and you did what to me? Now, are you in trouble for any of that? Is it usable against you at all? No. Can they even look at their so-called non-credible stalking tapes? No. Do they go to jail for admitting to drugging you? Yes. Do they go to jail for admitting to stalking you? Yes. And if they, like me, they admitted they were raping me, that's why I was infected. And they were selling videos. Do you realize that retired Judge Pete knew nothing would be admissible? They've offered him a victim that he could stalk on his own and rape, knowing nothing would be admissible against me, but he could go to jail. He had his own personal videos of stalking me. And then he was breaking in and lacing my Diet Coke or creamer. Wait for me to get done working out in the yard, come in and take a drink and get dizzy and lay down for a second. And then 4 to 6 hours, he'd just say, hey, Karen, and I'd say, what? And I wouldn't even know I talked to him. Have his own personal girlfriend. That he could come over if he wanted to beat on me, if he wanted to rape me, if he wanted to tell me to go do something, set up in a stalking camera so he could Photoshop it. Huh? And where they left bruises. And you see, that's one thing with serial rapists. They have to justify it after so long. They refer to their victim as their girlfriend or their wife. Case started. They said, that's that rich man's girlfriend. No one is allowed to say a word to her. I just look at my, I have a boyfriend. My husband's trying to kill me. What are you talking about? And because I only had bruises and infected, I didn't know what happened to me. And they kept saying, that's that rich man's girlfriend. No one's allowed to say anything to her. And they talked about him like he adored me. They say, then they said, that's Karen's Will. That's Will's girlfriend. We all know Will calls her his girlfriend. He is an older, shy guy that is too afraid to meet her, drives around all the time, and has all the guys watch her and make sure nothing happens to her while she's out. Isn't that sweet? I thought that's creepy. Thank you for making sure I'm okay when I'm out, but I've never met Will. And then, you know what I mean? And they would say, Will thinks Karen's beautiful. He's too afraid to meet her. That's Will's girlfriend. See, for serial rapists to justify in their mind, they call you their girlfriend or their wife because they become attached to you because they're having sex with you all the time and you don't know who's raping you. Well, see, the whole thing of it is Dave was still touching me after he let that man rape me. How sick is he? Do you realize how sick he is? He was human trafficking me to that retired judge. And that retired judge was telling everybody I was his girlfriend. He was telling everybody it was Karen's Will. See, when I tried to tell that agent, some guy was talking to people, that minister at the church, he called me a liar. Why would you call me a liar instead of, my God, how'd they find out? Huh? I tried to tell him about the guy at Huntington Bank. He called me a liar again. I I have a witness of him almost kidnapping me. See, that's the whole thing of it is. He didn't want to hear it. Some guy walked by my apartment. I listened to that tape of her talking to that agent. He wouldn't listen to her. And she was trying to tell him everything. He made me beg for my life, listed me an informant with diplomatic immunity, $5,000 a month, and then threatened me if I told anybody. They said he's nothing but a thief, that he stole the money on the first day. That's why he bullied me. But to actually open that case. See, this is where it didn't make sense again, too. After he bullied me, and I Googled him. I made sure he was real. Absolutely made sure he was real. I thought he was a Riri. Okay? I, the next day, a heavy-set white officer with white hair, he was actually over the case. He showed up and he said, I just got back from asking Dave about the threats on your life. I thought some agent just asked him, why would you? That was retired Judge Pete. And we'll pull in the agent's not worth it. Uh-huh. But see, this doesn't explain that agent's behavior. See, they said that he did that because he stole the money on the first day. That he was just being a jerk to me, so I'd be afraid of him. And he just opened the case to steal the money. See, but he actually opened a real informant program. Witness protection, diplomatic immunity, and $5,000 a month. The FBI still owes it to me. He left me up there to die. Within 10 days, because the way he had treated me, I had heard voice. I had a voice outside, and I went and looked, and it was Dave on the phone. He never seen me. He never knew I knew. He's threatening Dixie and the baby's life, and they have a list of people. So I Googled where he said he was, and a lady answered, and she yells out, "Well, he's got a list. I'm working on it." He heard him. Dave's phone is tapped. And then, oh God, around the 1st of December of 18, the main kidnapper for the Detroit boys, was down the road from my house in Ravenna. The guys that would follow me would turn off on 224, and I'd drive the last 10 miles home by myself. Well, on that road, he looks up, and I'm way out in the country, big trees. He looks up, and he looks scared of me. And I go out and around. And and he goes through the side woods, and I hit the garage door opener, floor it in, close it down, run and lock. I call him back at the office number, not his cell. And I said, I seen the guy. She yelled out and said, she's seen the guy. Do you know what happened 3 weeks later? The gunshot night. They were setting up, and because it's so dark out there, they broke into the duplex instead of my house. See what I mean? He started the case. He opened the case. He had police watching me. And he left me up there to die. And that retired Judge Pete started telling everybody as well. And telling everybody no one was allowed to help me and leave me high in danger. Do you know how I stopped from people hurting me? I put my refrigerator in front of the door. Some guy was outside my house. My wife said she never wants to speak to me ever again. She found out what we were doing over there. They were beating and raping an innocent woman. They're serial rapists. Why would she ever talk to you? Why would she ever want you to touch her? You raped an innocent woman. Huh? See, these people have been so caught up in the drama. My one client on Turquoise Street, the house across from them, they said they walked out and the teenage kid was there. And they said, take care of your sister while we're gone. He said, I know what to do if they show up. She said they threatened us if we told anybody. And we're going to go tell. We knew they made everything up on her. And they're not going to threaten us. See where they've been running around paying people not to say anything. They're threatening people. You better tell everything you know on these people, because they will grab people. Like they said, they're just grabbing anybody. They'll kill you because they need somebody to kill. They'll human traffic you because they need somebody to have raped. And they're grabbing people just to kill them, some guy said. So everything you know on them, if they give you money not to say anything, take the money and tell on them anyways. They're serial killers and rapists. See, people have lost their mind in this big drama. And that agent left me up there to die and fed me to a drug cartel. See, that judge knew nothing would be admissible. He's a retired judge. It's a severe Fourth Amendment violation. They could never look or listen. All the police knew that. They go to jail for stalking me, drugging me, raping me, beating me. Their own confessions. And it's not admissible against me. You can't victimize somebody and use it against them. My one friend that worked at the prosecutor's office said it's a fraud scam. When they kicked in your door, they probably did set up on cameras stalking you. It can't be used against you. It's in a house where you had marks, you were dizzy, you were throwing up, and they probably did drug you. But it can't be used against you. And them day rape drugging you and telling you to say something. You have the right to remain quiet and a right to an attorney. And with that agent, there's badgering laws. And then there's embezzlement laws. See, the FBI still owes me that money. And he stole way over $300,000 from the case. They're supposed to pay your living expenses, housing, and give you a medical card and diplomatic immunity. You know what I have? The diplomatic immunity. He stole the money on the first day. Where Dave told Danny, he has it set up. I can't get anyway. He has nothing admissible. And that Pete knew it, and he took it because he had his own personal slave and whore that he could break it. And I'm not a whore. Not even a little bit of whore. That man would have never been able to touch me. I was a married woman. See, there's a difference. I have integrity. But he thought he had his own little victim that he could human traffic. And he took them a chance to have somebody he could beat and rape. And have his own, then they came found me and called me his girlfriend to people. And I didn't know who was attacking me and leaving me marked and infected. Huh? See, that agent, though, opened a real case. Had an officer talk to Dave. And I want to tell you about another thing. There's several officers that work the case. There's him. There's Officer John, the heavyset white guy that went to Dave. He'll tell you I'm innocent of everything. There's Officer John. He's a younger guy with black hair. He'll tell you I'm innocent of everything. There's also two guys about my kids' age, okay? And around November of 18, Walmart 62, it's all lit up, okay? We get our groceries. People are going in and out. It's getting the holiday time, okay? We're loading up the trunk. It may have been October, okay? The case had started, and the investigators are following us around, okay? We go to put our groceries in the trunk. A green car pulls in. Dave starts freaking out. Oh my God, Kieran, get in the car. And I'm like, no, I'm looking, people are walking by. And I'm putting the grocery cart. He grabs my purse. And now I have my concealed carry license. I don't usually keep my clip in the gun because of safety. It takes a second to load it. And so I had the gun in the secret compartment built in my purse. He's digging through my purse. Oh my God, Karen, where's that gun? I'm like, it's not together. And I'm still putting the groceries in the car. He's like, you don't understand what's going on. Karen, I know you don't know what's going on. Get in that car. And I'm like, no. And I had already been almost shot in the head driving. I have stalkers usually showing up when he's not there. And some guy pulls up next to me and you want a gun? Come on now. And I'm loading up the car, and he's like, I said get in the car. Oh my God, Karen, where's that gun? And he's pulling stuff out of my purse. He's having the biggest girl meltdown. You don't know what's going on. You get in the car. And I'm like, no, if you're scared of him, beat him with my purse. Threw the last bag in, slammed it down, grabbed my purse, and went and sat down. That poor man wouldn't get out of his car. Some idiots out in the parking lot, grab a gun, get a gun. He was too afraid to move. He thought the guy that he hired to kill me pulled in next to him. And he thought he was going to stab me in front of him. He freaked. A day or two later, I went down to Walmart. Those two young guys about my kids' age walked in and said she told him to beat her with her purse. I know, come on, we can't be seen with her. And they started laughing. They've been around since the beginning of the case. They've been around me since the beginning of the case. Okay? They showed up June 23rd to July 4th of 21. People are starting their hate crime and mass panic of their shit of what they did to me before. And they walk around the paint aisle. They're following me around. What are these people talking about? We interviewed her family a long time ago. She's never hurt anyone. And then some girls that were dating some of the drug dealers, oh my goodness, those boys had a drugger to make her say that stuff. Nobody mentioned those tapes while we're out. Well, they had already, since the first case, people were walking up around me, bragging they were using sodium pentothal on me and they were drugging me up, and they had been doing it before in front of investigators. They already knew I was drugged and framed. They didn't know who did it, though. See what I mean? So, February and March of 23, I'm in Walmart 62 in the hair salon again. Same guys come in. We told these people to stay out of this. We interviewed her family a long time ago, and she's never hurt anyone, and nobody's ever seen anything. And they're in there yelling at Walmart. We told these people to stay out of this. Same ones that have been around me since 18. See, when they go undercover, they won't just formally sit down with you at a police station. They could have showed up at my kids' work. New trainee for a day. Say, hey, how's your family? Wife, got kids? Mom, dad? Dad good to you? Mom good to you? She never beat on you, did she? Do anything bad? No. She's not like a flasher. Hell no. You know what I mean? Boom, you got your answers. And they didn't have to be involved. Because you know what? My family spoke highly of me. She's the best mom in the world. I know they did. Because you know what? Little Geeky told in front of everybody, said, you're better than a mommy. You're the sweetest grandma that ever was. That's how my grandkids talked about me. I'm like, don't tell your mom you called me better than mommy. I said, grandmas are just mommies with experience. That's it. And I said, you hurt mommy's feelings. Grandmas get to love them, spoil them, and hand them back. We don't have to be mommy. See what I mean? We don't have to be mommy. So we get to be grandma. My father said they were your reward for not killing your own children for being bad. It's like, thanks. But see, that's the whole thing of it is. My kids probably don't even know they were interviewed. They probably just thought it was a friend of a friend or a new trainee at work showing up. Hi, how are you? They start working with them. Hey, I got a wife, I got so many kids. You do? You got a wife and kids? Yeah. Blah, blah. What about your mom and dad? Is your mom good to you? Oh, yeah, she's great. Da, 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 da. She's good to the kids? Oh, yeah, she's great. She never was horrible or mean to you. No, not at all. Matter of fact, she spoiled us. Huh? She's not like a flasher or anything. No. They would be like that. And they would have laughed at him. They probably thought it was the silliest conversation. And they got interviewed and didn't even realize that. That's what they do when they go undercover. See what I mean? My family spoke highly of me. Josh has this house because I helped get a loan and help pay for it, and we pay cash for it. And then a lot of his furniture I paid for, and the girls' clothes. Danny's kids, I picked out his house, talked him in the guy to selling it to him at cost, and told them how they lived in a bad part of Canton with premature twins and a 4-year-old, and I was afraid something would happen. He sold it to Danny. He could have got more. I paid for a lot of his furniture, either gave it to him or I think I sold him a table for $50 once. But I bought their twins. I bought a mat. I think we did buy mattresses, and I bought the desk. I bought their TVs. I bought their computers. I bought their clothes for 10 years. I used to go and wash their dishes for free and clean their house once a week, if not every other week. See, I spoiled them. And John lived with me 3 different times during his breakups with Melissa. Melissa even asked me to babysit in 18. John asked me to babysit in 19. She wouldn't have even done those mean jokes in protected custody if she wasn't trying to show off for Michelle. And I told you, that family is, they're the classic psychopaths where their brains don't function in fear, empathy, remorse. They can't feel sorry for you. Their brains don't work. They feel fear, they feel hope, how do they feel? They feel happy, excitement, and joy. It gives them excitement to hurt you. It makes them happy they made money off of it. They don't know it's bad. They're the classic serial killers. And it's pretty princess. She's so beautiful. Michelle. We sold people for money, but the money made Michelle happy. We had people killed, but it made Michelle money and it made her happy. They don't realize what they're saying. We human traffic Karen and let retired Judge Pete beat and rape her, but we made money on the videos. We sex traffic videos of her and Dave in bed and stalking tapes. We photoshopped that shower scene, but we made money off of it. We acted into the protected custody case that agent opened and made millions. See, that's one of the things the guy said, I made enough money off this. See, they made money at my expense. They need to go to jail. That agent, see, then this comes the point. He opened that case. Had an officer talk to Dave. They're still around me. My security team. Here and there they show up. That money is due to me every month for the rest of my life. I was tortured. I was almost shot in the head driving. And that's where when I told him I had already almost been shot in the head driving. Had a slam, tuck, and swerve. My car's bugged. He heard me pray for help. And they're breaking in Walmart. Some guy running it wouldn't let them pull me out, and then I almost got shot in the head driving. I almost got murdered. There's stalkers showing up. They're getting chased off. People are breaking in, stabbing me with needles, lying. They have sodium pentothal reports. And he left me up there to die. You can't just walk away from a case. If you're going to close a case, you have to come talk to the foreman and move him out. You can't just leave him up there and feed him to a drug cartel. And he did. They said he stole the money on the first day. And he couldn't known about Dave and retired Judge Pete on their own, stalking me and not arresting him, and he knew he couldn't look or listen. Because how credible is a stalker's tape? None at all. Because like when the sheriff said, you can Photoshop everything, and the Fourth Amendment covers it. All the police will tell you, nobody had a right to tape her unaware in their home before. They can't look or listen. It's illegal for them to, and they would go to jail. Even my friend that worked at the prosecutor's office, they couldn't. Nobody can. And then they admitted to photoshopping everything, photoshopping the shower scene. They said it was retired Judge Pete doing it. See, this is where the hell did my will go? And retired Judge Pete is not my will. And Dave can't hire a hitman and a stalker to frame his wife. He goes to jail. Everybody's like, they have been complaining. Dave ratted out Will because they think that was Will at that church. And an officer already verified he's seen an agent telling me before I called him back. November 6, 22. Dave can't hire a stalker. He can't hire a rapist. He can't human traffic me. He is not my pip. He couldn't have known any of this. Because Dave even bragged he talked to that agent, to Danny. And why wasn't it, my God, how'd they find out? I want the number of that church. I'm going to find out who said they were an agent. They walked off together in front of that bank. I'll get the bank surveillance at worst. I'm glad you got away from him. Instead of, you liar, you confess you're lying, and I'll put you in jail if there wasn't a camera above that bench. You knew I didn't know. And then when I tried to tell him they told on me to that church, he called me a flat-out liar, made me plead for my life, and then opened that account. They said he stole it on the first day, that he's nothing but a thief. December 2nd, 22, Wendy's Alliance, I knew my phone's tapped, Is that the one that church tried to have killed? Yes. Is that one guy from, I heard you didn't get no money out of this. He said no. It's one guy from the case stealing every dime for the first day for his cell. That Will's nothing but a thief. Someone needs to do something about it. The FBI still owes me that money. You can't put somebody in an informant program, diplomatic immunity, a drug cartel go crazy down here, human trafficking. And it took the sheriffs and the marshals 3-4 years later, pick it up and then do an 800 people sweep across the nation, 188 out of Ohio. And this one guy said he had a friend on the police department. They were using that case that agent opened to get these guys. They knew about the Texas group, a retired Texas judge involved, and he killed himself in this human trafficking scam. See, this whole thing's a scam. My friend from the prosecutor's office called it a fraud scam. And the one guy that I talked to, a friend from the police department, said it's a drug scam. Yeah. And that agent let them run crazy down here. And people have died and disappeared. And I have been tortured, I've been raped, I've been publicly humiliated, I've been human trafficked, I've been bashed in the back of the head, I've been beat with internal injuries. And where are they? My friend from the prosecutor said once they list you an informant, you're a informant for life unless they put you in another protective custody case. They can never let you go. Because somebody tried to kill you before, they could always try again. It's illegal for them to ever drop you no matter what. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. And there's a real case.